Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran Basic Reading in English for Beginners. O Prophet, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites and be firm against them. Their abode is hell, an evil refuge indeed. They swear by Allah that they said nothing evil, but indeed they uttered blasphemy, and they did it after accepting Islam. And they meditated a plot which they were unable to carry out. This revenge of theirs was their only return for the bounty with which Allah and His Messenger had enriched them. If they repent, it will be best for them. But if they turn back to their evil ways, Allah will punish them with a grievous penalty in this life and in the hereafter. They shall have none on earth to protect or help them. Among them are men who made a covenant with Allah that if He bestowed on them of His bounty, they would give largely in charity and be truly amongst those who are righteous. But when He did bestow of His bounty, they became covetous and turned back from the covenant, averse from its fulfillment. So the more money they got, they became more greedy and more stingy with their money, right? And so the burden and the test on them was greater. And that is why Islam teaches us that lack of money is a big test, and an abundance of money is also a big test. And on the day of judgment, 2 of the 5 questions that we will be asked, 40% of the questioning is just about money. How did you earn it? How did you spend it? So He has put as a consequence hypocrisy into their hearts to last till the day whereon they shall meet Him, because they broke their covenant with Allah and because they lied again and again. Know they not that Allah does know their secret thoughts and their secret counsels, and that Allah knows well all things unseen? So this is also a warning not only to the hypocrites, not only to the unbelievers, but people of every faith as well as those who don't have faith. If you are a criminal, whether you are a big criminal or a small criminal, whether you are a big shot or a small cigarette, it does not matter. You can be having your secret meetings with your pals and your gangs. You can be having a secret meeting in the warehouse or underground in the basement, or your secret meetings in the boardrooms, or your secret meetings in Parliament or in Congress. It does not matter. God, most merciful, knows exactly what your secret meeting and your secret councils are all about. And for example, we know that, let's be generous, and we say that 90% of people in government are honest and 10% are criminals. But the criminals in government and the criminals in civil society, they will be held to account on the day of judgment for every bribe that they took, for every time that they were involved in corruption with the tenders, whether it was a corruption with the electricity prepaid meter, or the corruption in the load shedding, or the corruption in the repairing of the potholes, or the corruption with tenders, or the corruption with medical equipment, or the corruption with supplies to the hospitals and to the schools and the communities. Any type of tenderpreneurs, the corruption there, or the thieving, or the bribery whereby the community is suffering, then you as an elected member of government will be held to account by God, because you promised that you're going to solve the problems of the people, but then you are only interested in self-enrichment. And if the justice system does not catch up with you, it does not mean that you have escaped the law, because you cannot escape God, and that is a guarantee. It does not matter if you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Scientologist or a New Age religion or a traditional faith healer. It does not matter if you are a monotheist, polytheist, pantheist, agnostic or atheist, even if you don't believe in God. It is an absolute guarantee that every single human being on the face of the earth, irrespective of race or religion or gender or wealth or nationality, you could be American or Russian or Mexican or South African. It does not matter. Every single human being, from the Pope to the President to the Prime Minister to the Premier to the local ward councillor and the mayors to the farmers and the doctors and the lawyers and the ones who are unemployed and the homeless and everybody, the rich and the poor, the high and the low, including the kings and the queens and the princes and the sultans and the emperors. Every single human being, from the first to the last, will be resurrected again from the grave. It does not matter how you were died or how you were interred. You could be buried in the grave and your body can be decomposed, or you could be cremated. It does not matter. You can even fall down a volcano in Hawaii or Indonesia and be burnt to ashes. It does not matter. You can even be frozen in liquid nitrogen and shot out into the space, into the Andromeda galaxy. It does not matter. You can even drown in the deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench, 11 kilometers down into the ocean, and all the fish have eaten you up. It does not matter. God will bring you back here to the planet Earth and restore your life. All your bones will be restored. All your muscles will be restored. Your organs will be restored. Your eyesight and your hearing, everything will be restored. Your 30 trillion biological cells in your body will all be reassembled again. The mitochondria, the plasma membrane, the endoplasmic reticulum, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the histosomes, the mitochondria, which are the energy batteries with the ATP, will be restored, as well as your messenger RNA and your DNA with your chromosomes, your 46 chromosomes, the XX for the female and the XY for the male, comprising 3 billion base pairs from the mother and 3 billion base pairs from the father, comprising just 4 bases: cytosine, guanine, thymine, and adenine. Everything will be reassembled up to your very fingertips. Your fingerprint will be the same. Your tongue fingerprint will be the same, including your retinal eye scan will be the same. And most importantly, your 100 billion brain cells will be restored, including the trillions of glial cells of the nutritional oligodendrocytes and astrocytes, as well as the trillions of interdendritic connections, which gives you your neuroplasticity and your memory. All your memory will be restored, even though you may have died from Alzheimer's or dementia. It does not matter. On that day, the angels that have been with you all the time, who have been recording your evil deeds and recording your secret counsels, will give that hard drives. Your video hard drives will be given and plugged into a huge TV screen from east to west and horizon to horizon and from the sky to the earth. And everybody will then see the crime that you did where you thought it was being done in secret. That is why the day of judgment is also known as the day of shame and humiliation. It is also known as the day of regret, where people will crawl along on their hands and knees and beg to God to be returned to earth so that they can live a proper life. But they will be told you only have one life to live. It is also known as the day of loss and gain, where the big shots on that day will become little shots. The ones who thought they had a lot of money, the ones who stole from the people, or if one nation stole from another nation through colonialism or imperialism or expansionist policies, they will be told to give everything back and more. So then those who thought that they were wealthy because of the harm that they had done on others and they spread tumult and oppression on the earth, on that day, all the arrogant big shots will be little small cigarettes. They will be the small shots. then it will be too late. God is never absent from any time or place. He is closer to you, closer to us than our jugular veins or the carotid arteries. God is with you in Parliament. So please treat Parliament with sacred duty and honor and dignity. God is with you in your business and in your boardroom and everywhere. God is not only found in the mosque or in the temple or in the church. God is everywhere. You can have your secret meeting in your boardroom or your warehouse or in the underground nuclear bunker a kilometer or 10 kilometers down. God is there with you. So no, don't you know? Simple basics. No, they're not. That God, Allah, does know their secret thoughts and their secret counsels, and that Allah knows well all things unseen. Asa belief, man, sir. We need never ever remove God from the equation of your life. And we as South Africans, we need to restore God back into our lives. And it is only when we put God back into our lives that we as a nation can transform our beautiful land into another Dubai or Singapore. Because our honorable leaders need to know that they are answerable to God on the day of judgment. And thereby we can remove the criminals from government, and we can remove the criminals from civil society, whether it is the mafia criminal gangs in government or the mafia cartels in society, the kidnappers and the criminals, both big and small. They need to be named and shamed and thrown into jail so that the rest of us, the good people, can use our resources, can use our gold and our diamond to transform this land so that everyone can benefit. And we can eradicate poverty, we can eradicate unemployment, we can eradicate joblessness and homelessness, and we can provide peace, prosperity, and security for people so people can sleep nicely at night without worrying that someone is going to break into their home. Because people need to know that even if you walk around at night as a criminal in the darkness of the night or when there's load shedding, God knows exactly who you are and what you are doing. You cannot escape that from God. So it is very important for us to go back to God, to embrace our faith, and to become spiritual beings, because we are the best nation on the planet Earth. And we need to now resolve and find solutions to the problems that are facing us as a nation. After 30 years of freedom and democracy, it is very sad and sometimes extremely shameful that the Liberation Party has not been able to solve the problems of this country. So they need our help. So we need to pray to God most merciful. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide our leadership. And the only way we're going to get South Africa right is by hiring people on merit. There's no more jobs for pals. We must hire the best person for the job. It does not matter if that person is white or black or Indian or brown or colored or Khoisan. If that person can do the job, then that person must be hired for the job in Parliament. So the honourable members of Parliament and premiers and local ward councillors must not be hired on the basis of friends and comrades, and we must get rid of BEE because that is harming our nation. How long are we going to still talk about BEE? We're 30 years in a democracy. Nothing has happened. The rich are getting richer while the rest of us are suffering. We need to get people based on merit. Because remember, man, sir, as a belief, man, sir, you don't have to be a doctor to know that the brain is not in the skin color. Your brain is not in your skin. The brain is up your cop. And your cop is not for a hat. Some people think, you know what, the only reason why I got a head is to have a hat when there's an opening of Parliament. Then I can show what a beautiful hat I've got. That's not the reason why you got a cop. There's a very important reason why you got a cop. And as a belief, man, say in Parliament, we need to start using our cop. Now, man, say as a belief. Join me in the next episode. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.